So yeah, we're here today from our homes in Stockholm, and we want to talk about inclusive design in Minecraft. Before we start, we're gonna introduce ourselves a little bit. So my name is Patrick, and I am head of games at Mojang, which is a very vague job, perhaps, but I oversee pretty much development of all our games. We have another leader specifically for Vanilla, where Agnes is the game director. But otherwise, we are doing a lot of other things like Minecraft Dungeons or the board game or collaborations with other developers. That's under my supervision. Um, I've been at Mojang for about 3 years now and worked with games for over 15 years at different companies. Um, so amongst them, we have Dice, where you make games where you shoot people in the face. I was also one of the co-founders of Rovio in Sweden, where you shoot pigs with birds. Um, and so now I'm here at Minecraft, where I'm very happy. Agnes.
I'm Agnes, and I'm the Vanilla Minecraft game director. So that means I work a lot with Minecraft, the game. So a lot about like the creative vision, what's next for Minecraft, what updates should we do, what features should we have in the updates, and I still do some coding and design as well. So yeah, I'm super excited to be here, and I will talk a bit later in this presentation about like, so what is inclusive design for Minecraft and what do we actually do to try to make Minecraft more inclusive and more accessible?
Awesome. So before we go into the details of inclusive design, I would just like to address a little bit what Minecraft is, because um, I'm uh, I'm not assuming that everyone knows exactly what it is, but it's a game, obviously, and it's been around for over 10 years now. It was the Mojang was founded in here in Stockholm and was bought by Microsoft later on. Um, the game itself is it's a very kind of open world type of game, a sandbox experience with different ways to play it, which is kind of a key factor for us. But I suppose some of the most popular ways to play it is through the survival mode, where you have to simply survive through different means. There's a creative mode where you can just do whatever you want, and there's various other ways where people can kind of modify the game and play the way they want. You can, yeah, be creative. You can explore the world. You can go adventures. You can grow things and take care of things. And I think one of the key factors here is uh, the emergent gameplay that comes from playing this game in all its simplicity. Um, so I would like to just show you one of the very early videos on when someone played Minecraft and explored it. He has just built his house and wants to show off his fireplace. Now, we have some problems showing videos with sound, so I'm actually going to post the YouTube link here so we can all watch it together. I'm going to show the video without sound at the same time, and then we'll come back here once you watch the YouTube video on your own. So you should have the link now in the chat, and I'll just start the video on my end. Let's see. All right. I hope everyone has watched the video. So yeah, that could happen. That's one way of playing the game, and that this is kind of the emergent gameplay that we're talking about. That you can't possibly predict what's going to happen, and that allows for a lot of different ways to play the game. Anyway, we're here to talk about diversity and inclusion, actually, and inclusivity in general. So I will just speak a little bit about what we do at Mojang Studios in terms of diversity and inclusion. And then Agnes will deep dive into the game itself and how we work with it in our games. So diversity and inclusion is an important thing for us at Mojang Studios. We are very passionate about this, and it kind of boils down to that our studio vision is actually to build a better world through the power of play. And this means a lot of different things. And because of the reach we have with our game, it's important that we also take the responsibility of making a better world in our games.
You're muted now, Patrick.
So I just been talking a lot without. Or
The,
did I mute myself just now?
oh no, the presentation isn't visible either now.
Oh.
But it was just when you talked about that we need to be very responsible because we have so much reach.
Okay, interesting. I'll try to do this again. Okay, do you see my presentation now?
Yes, no, I see it at least.
Okay. Hope this works. All right, so we are doing a lot of things concretely outside of the game. So one of them is called Block by Block, and it's an initiative that we are collaborating with the UN, where we go to different suburban and urban places in the world where there is a need for improvement, and we actually let people visualize how they would envision their part of the city in Minecraft, and then actually work with the city to build that or realize that vision. I should have those numbers, but I don't have them. but it's we have made substantial impact in lots of places in the world, actually, across the globe. That's one thing, and then we have specifically also something called Education Edition of Minecraft. It's a special version of the game that we work mostly with different schools around the world, again, where we give more tools for teachers to use in an environment where you can teach children to, well, basically everything from teaching about the culture of indigenous people to technology and STEM in general. I was visiting actually one school in Tokyo last year before the pandemic hit, and just like see how 10-year-old kids start coding within Minecraft with Education Edition. It was a pretty amazing thing to see, I would say. And then apart from things outside of game, within the game, we also do things where we try to kind of tie it back to real world topics. Like, so say we had update aquatic, where we were there's an update about the ocean, and then we will do collaborations and inform people around sustainability in our oceans, for example. Apart from trying to make the world better outside of the studio, also do things to improve things within our studio. And we have a saying that's called "Better Together." We are always involved in various things. For example, we've been part of Pride Parade for many years now. We have different focuses within our studio. So for now, for example, we have say recruitment is a big thing for us, and how do you have a better or more diverse recruitment in our studio? And because we know that within games there's a skew of obviously towards men, and how do we get more female applicants, for example? And it really starts with, for example, how you write your job ads. So the language specifically used in your ad would appeal certain groups of people, and we have using different tools and analyses to write better ads. And then in the interview process, again, there is always the unconscious bias that everyone has, that you're aware of, that you have that, and you work with it to really focus the interview on a person's skills and what they're actually good at, and not so much if they have some sort of cultural fit and that you feel that they're nice because they're a bit like yourself, but more really focus on what their skills are. So those are some examples that we're doing also within the studio. We also have education days here where we find different topics, where we address certain things that's happening. Obviously, last year has been quite eventful, especially in the US, since our sister studio is in the US. That's something that we're very involved with. Like I don't know, well, I won't go into details, but yeah, you will probably know what happened in the US last year. So I'll just introduce this, and I'll let Agnes talk about it. But it's, I think it's important to recognize that you always have something that is excluding in your game, whatever that can be, and that there's always room for improvements. Because at the end of the day, we want as many players as possible to play our games for various reasons. And no, maybe a bit of a cynical view is that if more people can play your game, then more people will actually buy your game, and that's good. So for well, future investments in more games, of course. But with that said, I'll let Agnes talk about this more intelligently than I can.
About it very intelligently. But yes, let's talk a bit about then. So what is actually inclusive design for Minecraft? We actually include quite many things when we say inclusive design. So one thing is, of course, diversity and inclusion. One thing is accessibility. One thing is that you should be able to play Minecraft in your own way. Because one very beautiful thing with Minecraft is that you can play it in so many different ways, and you can really turn it into your own game. So we actually see this as an important part of making Minecraft more and more inclusive. And then, at least related to this, we have educating in a fun way, as Patrick also mentioned. So for example, like as soon as we find a possibility to in-game educate our players, for example, about sustainability, we really try to do that. And I think the bees are a good example, where we added this super nice feature, added bees to Minecraft, but we also made sure to give them behaviors that teach the players about the bees and their ecosystem in the real world. But yeah, we can go to the next slide and talk a bit more about all these things. So let's focus a bit more on the diversity and inclusion aspect of this, because we actually have a number of guidelines related to this. So we always, when we add new things to Minecraft, we should really try to follow these. And the first one is a guideline we have had for a very long time, and is that there are no genders in Minecraft, because it isn't up to us to define how a specific or non-specific gender should look like or act like. Like, your Minecraft world should truly be your Minecraft world. So if you play Minecraft, you know that there are lots of mobs, like animals and monsters and villagers in the game. But from our perspective, there are no genders. So they don't have genders, and they don't need genders. So that's one of the guidelines. The other guideline, the next one, is that we should avoid stereotypes. And this one can be a bit more tricky to, like, how do we follow that? But I think it's a lot about making sure to always question ourselves and why we design something in a specific way or assume that something needs to be in a specific way. And yeah, I have an example actually. So 2 years ago, we were working on our Village and Pillage update, and it was an update that added in lots of new functionality to our villagers and villages. And one day we were discussing, so how is the villagers, what are the personalities of the villagers? And the thing with villagers in Minecraft is that they don't fight at all. They can't fight because they have their arms like this. And they're just happy with their life. They live their lives, they don't fight. And that made quite many assume that, oh, of course, they are quite dumb. And it's but why would they be dumb just because they don't fight? And it might be seen as a small example, but I think it's important that we always question these things. Why did we assume that they were stupid? Of course, they are not stupid. So those kind of things, we always just need to think about that. And the last one here is very important, of course, and that is that everyone should feel equally welcome and equally represented in Minecraft. And while we, of course, very, very, very much hope that this is the case, I also think, or we think it's important to acknowledge that we definitely can and should improve on this point and on all the points. So I hope everyone feels equally welcome and equally represented, but we also always need to strive and actively find things we can improve. We can go to the next slide. So, related to that, actively finding things we need to improve, I wanted to talk a bit about some different problems related to this in Minecraft. The first one is that we only have 2 default skins, and it's the ones you see here in the pictures. It's Steve and Alex. One thing that makes this better is that you actually can create your own skin, and if you play the Bedrock edition, we even have a character creator, so it gets much easier. But we still feel that this is definitely something we should improve. For example, it's there are extra steps for you in game if you want to have a skin that look like you, and we want it to be that you can as easy pick a skin that you really recognize yourself in. And another important part of this is that we also use Steve and Alex, so these 2 figures you see here, a lot outside the game, like in marketing, in merchandise. And then that also means that there are many, many players that will not recognize themselves in these skins. So this is one of all the things that we are looking into improving. The next one is interesting, and that is that we need to represent more cultures in game. One thing that's important to note here is that Minecraft isn't the real world, so we shouldn't just grab things from the real world, because that could actually break the immersion and make the experience less good. But what we really need to do is to make sure that we get inspired from lots and lots of different cultures of the world. Yeah, because it's always easy to get inspired from things you know about yourself, and you do things from your perspective. And I will talk more about this soon, and what we try to do to make sure to represent more cultures. And the last one, not everyone can play Minecraft today. This is a super important one. So, for example, if you have certain disabilities, let's say you're fully blind, then it's not going to be a delightful experience to play Minecraft. And we have a bold statement, and this is our goal, and our goal is that everyone should be able to play Minecraft. We don't know when that will happen, but we know that we always need to work towards that goal. And I will talk a bit more about accessibility as well. But it's a big thing for us. And as Patrick said, we really want everyone to be able to play Minecraft. Next slide, please. Yeah, and this is also an example. It's a smaller one, but I think I will tell you soon what these trees mean. But I think this is good to show how easy it is to design things through your own perspective. And as we know, this is a game that, or at least originally, were only developed in Sweden. And so here on the pictures, we see 4 different tree types in Minecraft. And the first one is called birch. The second one is called oak. The third is a spruce. And the fourth is a jungle tree. And like, it's maybe not too bad, but it also shows that, okay, this is definitely someone from, like, for example, a Nordic country that's like birch, oak, spruce, and the jungle tree. And so it's a reminder for us to think about, like, really try to think from different perspectives, and remember that we do have players all over the world, and that's beautiful, and we want everyone to recognize themselves in the game. So we probably should rename the jungle tree. And now we can do next slide. So yeah, this is just, again, we have said it a number of times, but it's so important that we can and must always make Minecraft more inclusive and more accessible. So I just wanted to say it again, and now we can go to next slide. So what do we actually do to make Minecraft more inclusive? And I will focus on the in-game things. But I still wanted to mention this one, striving for diversity in the teams, and Patrick already talked to it. But this is very important to make sure that the game get more inclusive, because if we have a very diverse team, it's easier for us to get lots and lots of different perspectives when we develop Minecraft. And as Patrick said, we are doing many things. And one thing that's really great is that all the hiring managers also are getting education about, like, unconscious bias and how to write ads and how to market ads to make sure that we, like, lots of diverse groups actually see the job ads we have. And another example is to make sure that the interviewers are a diverse group of people. So the ones that are interviewed more likely can feel, yeah, this is actually a company where I will feel good and feel like home. So lots of good things happening there. So I really wanted to mention it. But yeah, the next slide. And this might be the most important slide of all of them. There are lots of important slides, but to us, this is very important. We need to, and we are working hard on include more voices and more diverse voices as early as possible in the process. So for example, when we work on a new update for Minecraft, we really actively need to include more voices, and especially more diverse voices. And this is done in many different ways. And the first one here, community collaboration, that's something that's like, it's like a fundament of Minecraft. It's one of the things that we really develop Minecraft together with our community. And we are very lucky to have a really big community, and it's very diverse. And that also means that thanks to that, we develop the game together with the community. We actually do get input from a very diverse group of players, which is lovely and super valuable both for us and for everyone playing the game. But then we also thought quite a lot about, like, this long period before we had announced an update, then everything's super secret and we can't really get input on specific things, at least because we haven't told anyone about the update yet. And then we have really tried to make sure to include more voices by including, like, everyone at Mojang Studios in the update process. Of course, we still have, like, a design team, the team I work in, that really are designing the features and working a lot on it, but we're looking into different ways to, like, include more. And one thing is that we actually have a number of Slack channels. Slack is like a, it's called, tool to talk to each other, chat tool. And we have a number of Slack channels specifically for diversity and inclusion, and we even have one for the game, with the purpose that it should just be as easy as possible for anyone at Mojang Studios to share, like, this I think could be a good idea to do to make Minecraft more inclusive, or if anyone is run into a problem related to this, we want it to be super easy to share it, and we don't expect anyone to share like a solution. We just want to know about it so we can think about solution as well. And then the last one is something I think is super good, and that is that we arrange interviews with players with different disabilities. So, for example, half a year ago, I got the opportunity to interview 4 different players with different disabilities. So one had very low vision, one was low in hearing, one had a motor disability, and then one with cognitive disabilities. And that shows it's so important to actually talk to players with disabilities to really understand their experience and like to get their input, because even if we of course always should try to think about everyone and understand everyone, still I only have my perspective, and it's so important to include others and like actually include others and not only think about how they might experience something. So I think this is super great, and we are really looking into how to make sure that everyone at Mojang Studios will be able to do interviews like that. Next. And this is actually the last topic before the Q&A, and it's related to that we want to inspire the players to play Minecraft in their own way. We can go to the next slide because it's more info on player archetypes on that one. So for us, it's very, very important that at least each big update should include something for everyone. Like we want to expand Minecraft like a sphere, like in all directions, and not just focus in one direction. Because it's just very important that you can play Minecraft in your own way, and we will never destroy that way. It should always be possible to play like you play. And one tool we have to help us with this is player archetypes. So we have defined a number of different archetypes, like could be like a storyteller, a redstone engineer, a creative mode builder, and so on. We have quite many. And this helps us when we start to like decide different features for an update or design a feature. We can like put on different hats and really try to think about different ways of playing, so we don't only think about how, for example, I myself prefer to play. I am most a storyteller, by the way. We do have a number of guidelines for our player archetypes. One is that the player archetypes need to be high level enough to not exclude, because if we would, let's say, have 15 archetypes and they were super detailed, then we would probably exclude lots of players that didn't fit within these. So they need to be quite high level, so we never exclude. A player can be in many player archetypes. And this one, not all features need to be for all player archetypes. This one is actually really important to make sure that we really create a good game, because if each little feature need to make everyone happy, then it's not a lot of the feature left, because like some players love challenges and scary things, and some players don't like that at all. They might like things that are very decorative or cute animals. So it's important that not everything needs to be for all archetypes, but the super important thing is that nothing destroys the game for any archetypes. And I think one good example here is from the update we're working on now, Caves and Cliffs. So we are updating like the underground of Minecraft. And a super important thing for us is that we shouldn't make like the full underground much more challenging or much more scary, because that would mean that we would take away that part of the game from lots of players that don't want more challenge or more scary things. However, we also, of course, have a big group of players that are super excited about challenges, scary things, adventures. And therefore, we're also adding a new biome called the Deep Dark. And it's very opt-in. You don't need to go there, but you can go there. And if you go there, you definitely gonna meet some more challenges, like a super scary mob called the Warden. So there for everyone, without taking anything away from anyone. Yeah, I think that's all from me. So let's have a Q&A, and let's use the chat, but then later when there's a workshop, we can also, like both me and Patrick will join different groups, so we can talk more just like a conversation, because that might be easier. But please feel free to share any questions. If we have any. Otherwise, we can take the questions in groups. Might be easier to just talk about. If we will add voice chat. Oh, well, we can't, we don't know, but definitely it's one of the, I mean, there are many, many things we talk about to make Minecraft more accessible. And so, like, I cannot share any plans, but it's a good question and one of the things we could do. Thank you for that question. Otherwise, maybe we should take like a 5 minutes break before we, Okay, so we have one question. If you were to make Minecraft more accessible for someone that's blind, how would you do that exactly? Well, I'm not sure we can answer exactly, but one thing is, of course, to work a lot with sounds, sound cues. And another thing is to really collaborate with players that actually are blind to truly understand their how it is to play games when you are blind. But sound cues, different sounds, just like from different mobs, from different blocks, so you can build like up a picture around you from, or understand how the world looks, but from sounds instead. Are you inspired by any other games regarding inclusivity? Yes, Patrick, maybe you want to talk to this. I know you had some examples you were excited about, but yes, we are.
I have some brain freeze now. What were you thinking about?
There was, yeah, okay. I remember we talked about the game. What was it called? It's just brain freeze.
Yeah.
We can get back to that otherwise.
Yeah.
But I think like it's always good to learn from other games and other game devs. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, we have some collaboration also within the games industry, so to speak. For example, the Sims team, we're talking to them actually. The Sims, I suppose, is another game that we do look up to, where they have a very different set of challenges, you can say, because our game is very much a fantasy game, but Sims very much tries to represent the real world in a way, and so that poses a different set of inclusivity challenges, because then you need to portray things in a more or less realistic way, and especially your avatar. There's a lot of research on, for example, the different types of skin tones you should offer when you create your character, and things like that. I mean, one game that comes to mind just now, it might not be the first game you think of, or inclusivity is actually, the hugely popular Valheim, where I'm just very impressed with how they do onboarding, for example. Because onboarding is another kind of inclusive thing you can do. Minecraft, I suppose, is hard in a way to kind of start playing for many people, and it's just a very subtle thing they're doing in Valheim with like the what's the bird's name? The crow, I suppose. We just very naturally comes in and tells you things you need just in time. It's a very, very cool thing to do. So those are kind of some examples.
That's cool. I haven't played Valheim yet, but I really want to. And another thing is related to other games, not only about inclusivity, but we also have gaming Fridays. So the Friday afternoon, everyone at Mojang Studios are like encouraged to play games because we learn a lot from other games, and it's good to know what games are out there. What's your main target group when it comes to age? All ages. No, but I think that's such a lovely thing with Minecraft is that everyone can play it and enjoy it, and it's a game from like young kids to all ages. And I don't remember the average age, but it's not very young. Do you remember, Patrick? It's quite.
No, I don't remember.
It's not too
exactly.
shared, at least. It's
No,
because we have so many adults playing as well.
it's an adult person.
Mm.
That's for sure.
But then we of course make sure to that kids can play as well, because it's a great game for kids as well.
Yeah.
This is a fun question. I've always been interested in the pixel art style of the game. Have you identified any pros and cons with that style? Yes. I think this is a lot about like the simplicity of the game. And it's actually something we believe is a very good thing. As you know, it's a quite simple style. Everything is built out of blocks. And that also means that the threshold to create something that looks beautiful in the Minecraft world is very low. And I think, or many of us think, that is one of all the reasons to that Minecraft is so popular. Like if we would have a super fancy art side or really advanced graphics, it would be trickier to both make something that looks good and probably also trickier to interact with the world. Now it's just very simple rules, and you can place a few blocks and it actually looks quite pretty. So we think that's a strength of the game, that it's simple, but you can still do very, very, very advanced things. But that is by combining things. Instead of having everything in one block, for example, you need to combine many, and then you can do, well, almost like unlimited complexity.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, pixel art itself is it's a whole area of expertise, I suppose. Like it's almost like impressionism, right? It might look easy, but it's actually quite hard to make it well. And I think that impressionism itself is one of our strengths, where people can interpret a lot of things into the art that we have.
Yeah, that's, yes, what you said now as well. Like if we, for example, then look at a block, and of course there's pixel art on the architecture of the block, and most blocks are something like, but you can also use them for something else. Like you can build a table out of like a stem and what's called pressure plates and stuff like that. And as Patrick said, since it is impressionism, is quite simple, then it's much easier to be creative with it and do just anything you want with your imagination. But also, yes, I'm super impressed by the pixel artists. It's not easy. When I joined Mojang, we actually didn't have a pixel artist yet, so then all the developers made the art, and well, I can say it's much looks much better now when it's not me and other devs doing the art. You talked about having an inclusive team. Do you have people on the team that is outside the gender binary?
We certainly have non-binary people in the studio. I'm not sure in the vanilla team specifically.
Not in the vanilla team specifically. It's quite small team, but I mean we should.
But we have certainly in studio. So when we say also, maybe to clarify the term vanilla, when we use vanilla, we mean like the main game. Just so you know. But yeah.
No, and again, like we definitely still need to improve on having more diverse teams. it's almost a thing that we always can improve on and should improve on.
And we have a lot of room for improvement there, for sure.
So next question is, my impression is that Minecraft is played a lot by parents together with their children. Is this something you can confirm?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear many such stories.
Yeah, we heard a lot of it, and anecdotally as well. I wouldn't say we have firm quantitative data on it. We haven't really tracked that specific use case. But I would say yes.
Yeah, I remember once when I had like a workshop for kids, and we designed Minecraft animals together. And then there was a grandma and her grandchild in the audience, and they played Minecraft together. And both of them were like super excited, asked lots and lots of questions, and it was just lovely to see that this was this maybe 5-year-old child, and then a grandma, so a bit older person, and they both were super excited about the game. And it's just beautiful that so many different kinds of persons enjoy Minecraft. And then we have a question about mods. There is so many mods for Minecraft, but did you get inspired from any of these mods? Yes, I would say we for sure get inspired from mods. Then it's of course important for us to like follow our vision and think about how we want to do things. But many in the team love play the game with mods, and many comes from the modding community and then get hired at Mojang Studios. So yeah, for sure, I think we take inspiration from many different places, and that also includes mods. And we love the mods. It's such a great thing that we have a huge community creating all these amazing experiences in Minecraft. Also, I have been really thrilled to hear more about how you planned or discussed around how to broaden the landscape perspective in a more inclusive way, thinking about your tree example, Agnes. Yes. Now I just need to make sure I don't talk about sacred things here. but one part of it is that we are having brainstorms around this topic specifically internally, just to see what ideas there are, and to again make sure that we include people from different places or different cultures that identify in different ways in these brainstorms, so we get different perspectives. We also do have a number of ideas we want to do, but I will not share them because they're secret right now. So I hope there was a bit of an answer at least, even if it's a lot of secrets in that thing. Okay, maybe that's all of the questions. There were lots of good questions. Thank you. Should we then take a break? How long do we need? 5 minutes, or should we take until 11? Maybe. Yeah. Let's take a break until 11. That's easiest.
Yeah.
Okay. See you here then, and we're gonna talk more about like the assignment and the workshop that's gonna happen after the break.
We would like you to basically do a very similar exercise that we actually do with Minecraft. So first thing, of course, is to learn more about what Minecraft is. If you already played it a lot or watched streams, then you're probably good. But otherwise, spend some time playing or watching Minecraft. And then we are very interested in how you would define a few archetypes of your own for us. So we won't actually tell you what the archetypes are that we have. And very simply, things that would define an archetype would be like what kind of activities do they like to do in Minecraft, and what things don't they like. I'm gonna show you a few examples of what that could be. And then once we have modeled these archetypes, kind of try to predict what would appeal these archetypes in a future update of the game. And so this is very much the same exercise that Agnes described in the end there. So I'm gonna show you, let's see, another video. And these are very kind of extreme examples. Oh, yeah. So this is a redstone engineer, you can say, someone that's very interested in tinkering with redstone that kind of creates, you can create very advanced functions in it. It doesn't need to be this advanced. It could be very simple machines as well, but basically something that kind of runs on its own in the game. This example is an entire computer, a CPU in Minecraft that this person has made. So it's quite extreme. He's just flying through the actual CPU here. You can see all the connections. We're not going to look through exactly how everything works, but later you will see that you can actually boot up a computer and do things with it. In the very early days, people would make calculators and stuff like that. We've seen people that make almost like a functional smartphone and stuff like that in Minecraft, which is quite extreme. But you can see here all the bits and stuff. So, how do you move on? Okay. Here's another example of how you would play the game. This is from a mod called, what's it called? Sky something? Agnes, help me. Oops, sorry. I don't hear anything actually what you're saying. I think maybe it's me. Skywars. Yes, thank you in the chat. Anyway, so there are players that play mostly competitively, and it's more of a traditional game, you can say, not as much about exploring and being creative, but playing with or against other players. So that's another kind of type of play style or archetype that you will have. Right. So I'm gonna go back actually to this. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. See you.